Without much ado, let's begin the lessons. First and foremost, once you download the genuine Adobe Photoshop software and launch the program, this would be the initial screen. Let's see quickly what each one means. On the left hand side top, first you see the home menu. This would be the default view that you would get. Then we move on to the left side under the title Your Work. It gives the options Lightroom Photos, Cloud Documents, and Deleted. As I mentioned in my first video, Lightroom is another software that works parallelly with Photoshop, where you can open and process the raw files from the camera and digital negatives, where we can develop the photo non-destructively. We shall be seeing in much detail a portion of developing raw files within a module in Photoshop. If you ever store your document over cloud, you can find your works here. Since I have not saved any document, you find this section empty. Likewise, any file that you deleted recently from the cloud can be found here in the last section. Since I haven't saved or deleted any file, hence you won't find any files in either of these sections. Further down, you find the recent files that you have opened stroke modified, which is pretty straightforward. Again, on the left hand side down, you find two fields, one to create a new Photoshop file and one to open an existing file. If you wish to get rid of this opening screen for now, press the escape key and it vanishes. But the next time you open and close a file, like so, you will find the initial screen popping up again. If you do not want the screen ever to appear again, press the escape key to get rid of the screen, then go to Edit, Preferences, General. There is a keyboard shortcut for this, Control K or Command K in Mac, and uncheck the item Auto Show the home screen. This way, you can disable the initial screen and get to see the workspace straight away. The next step is to open a file. One of the significant beauties of Adobe Photoshop is that it gives you many options or methods to achieve the same goal. For example, to open a file, we have the following options. The industry standard command to open a file, Control O in Windows or Command O in Mac, opens up the window to choose the file to open, like so. Also, this can be done through the mouse and menu like File, Open, or just by double clicking on the empty workspace, the window pops up for you to choose the file. Alternatively, you can go to the specific folder that you wish to open and click to the files to open files in Photoshop. There could be files that are not associated with Photoshop. For example, the JPEG file which might open in a photo viewer, in which case right-click the file and choose Open With and choose Photoshop. To confess, I do not have a Mac operating system and hence I will not be touching upon Mac on much detail. But as a Mac user, you can always find your way to open the files based on the guidance given for Windows. Coming back to opening of files, as if these options are not sufficient, Photoshop has a native file browser called the Bridge. When you download Photoshop from the Adobe Creative Cloud desktop, you must also download the Bridge, which comes free with Photoshop. Bridge is a powerful companion to Photoshop that will enable you to do many other things that are otherwise not possible by the general way of opening a file that we have seen above. Let's launch the Bridge and see the benefits that we can get from this utility. Just to save time on this tutorial, I have already launched the Bridge. With the Navigator tab, you need to go to the folder that contains your file. I have saved the files in a folder called Exercise Files. As you can see, there are much similar looking pictures available. But if you look at it carefully, these are different type of files that are associated with Photoshop. The files you can see are JPG, also called the JPEG, the file with the extension NEF. .NEF is a native RAW file associated with Nikon cameras. The other RAW files of popular models are .arw, .srf.sr2 for Sony cameras, .crw.cr2.cr3 of Canon, .nef.nrw for Nikon, .pef.ptx for Pentax cameras, .raf for Fuji cameras. Raw files contain lossless data, and with the help of Lightroom or the camera raw setting in Photoshop, these can be developed into various image formats like JPEG, TIFF, PSD, etc. The other files that you see are PNG, or called as PNG file, PSD, the native Photoshop file, and TIFF, which is another file that supports transparency. Don't worry, if these appear too overwhelming, we shall be handling these files in much greater details in further lessons to come. If these are the only additional support that the bridge gives, I won't be speaking high about bridge. There are still much more that could be done on bridge. Let's go to another folder here called camera files. This folder contains a series of photos that I took while I was under lockdown. As you could see, these are water droplet pictures. As a practical application, you may have taken hundreds of pictures during a wedding photo shoot. When you put them in a specific folder and click on one of the files, thus the preview appears on the right hand side, which is actually no bigger than the thumbnail that you see. However, if you hover your mouse between these two windows like so, the cursor changes into a double arrow. Click and drag to your left, and now the preview appears bigger. You can assign the star rating for these pictures from 1 to 5 for each of these photos. Press Ctrl and 1 to 5, 1 being the poorest and 5 being the best. Let's quickly assign the number of stars for each of the pictures. For the sake of convenience, I have already assigned the stars to some of these photos by clicking 1 to 5 depending upon its value. Out of these, if you want to view only 5-star photos, click on the left-hand side down panel and choose the star value. Only those pictures assigned with the star will appear. If you are sure that you want to reject a file outright, then press Alt plus Delete, Option plus Delete in Mac, and later on you can filter them and delete them in one go. As if this sorting on stars is not enough, Photoshop gives you another option too. That is to sort on pictures based on color labels. These labels can be assigned to each picture by pressing the Control key plus the numbers from 6 to 9. That is Command plus numbers 6 to 9 on Mac. Although Photoshop suggests that this can be sorted on various factors like select, second, approved, and review. The practical use of this can be like you have a bunch of 5-star approved photos of a wedding shoot. Now you want to show some of the pictures to the bride and some of the pictures to the bridegroom. Thus, you can assign one label to the pictures to be shown to the bride and another label of the pictures to be shown to the bridegroom. This is just an imaginative way of using this feature, not strictly like the way shown by the Photoshop. Let's view only those pictures that have been rated 5 stars, and let's ignore the labels for now. What you view is just the name of the file, but you can view additional information about the file. To do that, go to Edit, Preference, and choose Thumbnails. In this, you can choose the various options that are available here, like file size, dimensions, or even choose other information from this drop-down menu list. This is how you choose, sort, and refine your selections of photos in Adobe Bridge. And to start editing the picture, either double-click the thumbnail or right-click and choose Open. Or if you want to open the file in Camera Raw mode in Photoshop, don't worry, as I said, we will all be seeing it in great detail and in great depth later. Choose the Open in Camera Raw mode. Welcome to the world of Photoshop, where the possibilities are endless.